elected officials. And I'm hoping I have not missed anyone as they came through the door. I'd like to recognize Trustee Kevin Thornton. Kevin, raise your hand. Can I say it? Raise your hand. And you don't really have to clap, but you can if you'd like to. Mayor John King, Mayor Sam Skinnitz, yep. Supervisor Don DeRocher, Supervisor Harold Russell, Legislator Carl Blowers, Legislator Jim Howell, and County Administrator Tim O'Hearn. Not elected, but almost. Is there anyone who came in that is an elected official that I neglected to capture? Okay. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, so we couldn't undertake a project of this magnitude without the support of several key people, and these are individuals that play a pretty integral role, sort of steering at the highest level sort of what we're trying to accomplish with Project Seneca. And those individuals are Don Berlew, Jack Benjamin, Tim O'Hearn, and Tom Tranter. I want to thank them for their support over the past year. So if you would join me in thanking them. We also couldn't do this without financial support. I just saw another elected official come in. So we have with us Trustee Lori DiNardo, who just joined us at the back left of the room. Hey, Lori. So we couldn't do a project like this without financial support. And nothing starts without a little bit of money somewhere. So in alphabetical order, I'd like to thank Atwater Estate Vineyards, Jack Benjamin, Carl Blowers, Chemung Canal Trust, Corning Enterprises, the Guthrie Clinic, Peter Hansberger, the Watkins Glen Area Chamber of Commerce, Rick Weekland, and Welver. So please join me in thanking them for this. So I did see a couple new faces here today, and I'm assuming that I cannot make the assumption that everyone knows what Project Seneca is. So what is Project Seneca? It's a world-class, sustainable, livable community redevelopment effort that will drive regional economic growth through investment in targeted initiatives along the southern shore of Seneca Lake and throughout Schuyler County. Project Seneca was conceived in 2012 as an effort to revitalize the lakefront here in Watkins Glen. Its first project, upgrading and relocating the wastewater treatment plant, became the impetus to enlarge the concept plan to include additional economic development efforts in the village of Watkins Glen, along the Cayuga and Seneca Canal, and in the village of Montour Falls. As a result, Project Seneca has become the umbrella effort under which multiple initiatives will be implemented over a 10-year period. In order to create a consistent and area-wide economic development message, Project Seneca is now the brand for all economic development efforts in Schuyler County, including initiatives within all 4 of the historic village downtowns, the towns in general, Camp Monterey, economic clusters which include fermentation, value-added agriculture, hospitality, and tourism, Schuyler County Business Park, and the Montour Falls Business Campus. So we have trademarked and registered the name, and we are using that sort of as our umbrella for branding. So I'm going to give you a quick review of our agenda that we're going to follow today. And you can see that we'll be talking about sort of what we've accomplished in 2016, what's coming in 2017 and beyond, and then our financials. And you will not have me talking to you this whole time. I'm going to sit down, and then we're going to have individuals who are much more well-versed in what's happening with their particular initiatives speak with you. So, when Project Seneca began, the movement of the wastewater treatment plant became synonymous with Project Seneca, as it would be the first initiative that was undertaken. It is my honor to introduce Mayor John King, who will provide a quick update on the progress of the wastewater treatment plant. Mayor King, would you like to come up?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm going to give you a very simplistic, brief update on the project. And I'd like to start with the map on the far side. At the top end is Watkins Glen, and the current wastewater treatment plant in Watkins Glen is being decommissioned and replaced with a pump station and a forced main that will take the wastewater down to the new wastewater treatment plant, which is sort of in the middle of that map. And it's on the east side of the canal, sort of opposite 12th Street in Watkins Glen. And it also replaces the wastewater treatment plant in Montour Falls and replaces it with a pump station and a forced main delivering the wastewater to the new plant. And in that, right there, you're looking at the $25 million that you keep hearing about on the plant. In addition to that, there's two other small projects, and that's the upgrade of the collection systems within Watkins Glen and Montour Falls. And each of those are funded at $1.8 million each. And the good news is that we have all of that funding in place. So financing isn't a problem any longer. It's now doing the job. If you go back to the previous one, this is just an outline of the new plant location. There's an administration building. I can't see it from here, but it's on the far left, where the offices and labs and truck bays and so forth are. And then there's the headworks building next to it, and that's where the forced mains come into the new plant, and foreign material and gravel and so forth are taken out at that point. But the real heart of the plant is the SBR tanks, or sequence batch reactor tanks, over on this side, and that's where the anaerobic and aerobic digestion of the solids takes place, the reduction of the sludge, and elimination of nitrates and so forth. And basically that piece of the plant is kind of equivalent to the two plants we have now, except it's much more sophisticated and will do a much better job. Then the secondary processing is filters up on this end, and they are going to be able to filter down to 2-micron sized particles, so I think the spec is 5. And then the tertiary processing is UV, so you're killing the bacteria at the end of the process. Now that water that comes out the end is going to be better, pure water than the canal and the lake that we're putting it into, so you could feed it into the beginning of the water system. Okay, if we go back again, I'd like to talk about a few milestones. We expect to complete the design at the end of January, and we hope that the bid packages will then be circulated at that point, and we'll get them back by the end of March. We have to create an access road, or improve the access road to the plant, and that's going to begin in April of 2017, and then we will, once we have the road in, do some pre-site preparation, as pre-loading of the site and condensing of the soil. And the forced mains and pump stations are, the bid package is going to be a little later because they're not on the critical path. And all the construction will be complete, and the plant startup in June of 2019. And the beginning of the construction will be October of this year. I wanted to talk about one special thing, and that is the unique design team approach that we've taken. And some of it is on the slide on this side. But Barton and Lagutis are our design engineering team. Larson Design Group is going to be the construction engineering team. And we have had a design review team put together for many weeks now that meet weekly, consists of the two DPW supervisors, Mark and Dean, and Terry Wilcox, the plant manager, Rick Weekland, myself to some extent, B&L, and Larson Design Group. And together we're reviewing sections of the design every week with the specs and going through it and trying to come up with the best end product that we can. And I think the municipalities have really a unique role in this. I don't think you'll find often. And the purpose of it is to stay on schedule. First of all, to do everything we can do to take shortcuts or do whatever it is we can to stay on schedule. Secondly, to keep the capital budget under 25 million because we use our hardship funding effect. Went over that. And thirdly, and more important, is putting in O&M knowledge into the design from our operator and the people on our team that are knowledgeable about those things, specifying the pumps we want and the valves we want and even where we want doors in the building so it's easy to maintain. I have one last slide I wanted to talk about, and it's for all the sidewalk superintendents that are here, or those people that are curious, or the doubting Thomases, that something's actually happening physically. And I want you to watch for, in fact, in Watkins Glen, you've already seen it with work being done on the roads and the manholes and roads being dug up, and that's spending the $1.8 million to improve the collection system, and that's going to actually be done, I think, at the end of this month. In December, we cut a bunch of trees out in the Watkins Glen Yacht Club, and that was to make room to move about 5 RV sites in the yacht club out of the way of the new access road. And the construction of those new sites is going to take place in January, and I think you'll probably be able to see that. I know you'll be able to see it if you go over there, but you'll probably be able to see it from the Walmart parking lot. There's the Montour Falls I&I work is going to probably start in May of this year, so that's going to be very visible as we rip up the roads and repair manholes. The access road to the site, that work will begin in the June timeframe and pre-loading the site. And you'll certainly be able to see that from across the canal, probably from the school or Drug Hollow or anywhere in that area. And finally, the wastewater plant construction itself is scheduled to begin in October of this year, and that will certainly be visible from those locations. So those are the things to watch for if you want a really warm feeling that something really is happening. Thanks.
So next I'm going to ask Dan Bauer to come up and share some pretty exciting news about what you're doing after 20 years of that facility sitting vacant. Right?
Absolutely. Well, thank you. The project we had, we also had a few birds there to get rid of as well, but ours were pigeons and we shoot them away, and we're just relocating a few eagles with the other project. But at any rate, this is a little more fun to look at. This building had been here for a while. It was a little dilapidated, late end of the century, 1800s building that was in kind of tough shape and falling in, and we have been rehabilitating as much of it as we could and brought it back to life. 7 townhome units. Right now there's 6 different contractors inside doing work and finish work to bring that together. All of the main brickwork is done. There's siding to be put on in the spots on the north end and on this space to be put together, and then most everything else is in the interior that you see, and then a finished coat of asphalt will go on the outside in the spring. Soft opening about April 3rd is what we plan on. It's up, the website's up, we're renting right now. We have rentals in place. You can go online, and I'll leave some cards out. I think there's a table at one of the other locations. I'll leave some cards out where you can get on the website. It'll run you off, and if you want to see available dates, that's available there. And we've been going through that process, the marketing process. Not sure if there was another slide or if that was the only one. This is the interior where the maple's going down into place and the cabinets are going into place, and it kind of shows a list of some of the things that we have going on that are more or less finished or putting things together. The base core work with the electrical program and everything is in play, and then this is just the finish up that you see there. Most of the mess is gone. Mark speaks to me again, Mark Simeon, that's a good thing. And I drive too. It was a little messy out there for a while, and we're cleaning that up. And I wondered why, when I pulled in, everyone in his business always started working fiercely, and I realized we drove the exact same vehicles. So when I went in, no one looked at me, and they all started working very hard. I figured that out after a while. I thought maybe there was something, what they do, but that was the deal. But this is the process that we have. We're really excited about it. We think it looks great already. We've had compliments even in its unfinished state. So we're getting it pulled together, and even the utilities and everything have been put in, working with Mark closely. And Watkins Lumber has been great to us because they've staged all of our lumber down there, and that's been a real help. We had no room to do that, so that's been terrific. Thank you.
So if you remember a year or so ago, 2 years ago, there was a major effort made to take the middle school here in Watkins Glen and have it renovated into 52 affordable adult, over 55 housing units. And a person who was leading that charge is Tim O'Hearn, and he's going to speak to us now about the community space that was part of that project, that the state gave grant money to help fund. So Tim, would you come up and talk about what's happening with the community space?
Thanks, Judy. Good afternoon. Prefacing anything regarding the middle school, I have to comment that this is an exciting time. When we reflect back that the inception of this project actually was in this very location in 2012, you're going to see farther on in the agenda all the progress that's been made. Think about it, and we're talking about government here. In 4 to 5 years, we've already accomplished things that hadn't occurred in a century, not only here, but throughout the state and the region. So my hat's off to all of you, those of you that have been directly involved, those of you that continue to support the effort, thank you. And it's very exciting to be just beginning, and I emphasize beginning. We're just starting to realize our potential in this community. So there's great things to come, and we haven't seen anything yet. With respect to the middle school, this project, as you're all aware, was a partnership between the local community and a not-for-profit and the school district. And it basically took a building that could have been unused and vacant, repurposed it to address a critical need, that being housing within the community. That was a partnership between a company called SEP and 2+4 Construction. And it's the first of its kind. They've done numerous rehabs of not only schools but other buildings for housing purposes. This is the first in the state that also involved a community purpose for part of the building. So the gym, or what at the time was the gym and auditorium, were earmarked for public use as the building got redeveloped. In fact, that leveraged about $1.2 million in state funding for the purpose of rehabilitating that space with the idea of turning it into a community center. The original plan has evolved somewhat over the years, so now that the county is in the final stages of negotiating with the building's owner, 2+4 Construction, to enter into a long-term lease for the auditorium space. There's not much left of the original gym that really was repurposed to be part of the facility. There is some left, but that ultimately will be probably converted into making that into a performing arts space. The county's thought with the Village of Watkins Glen as well is that this is an ideal space, number one, to meet a couple of critical needs. We have somewhat of a cultural void in this area, and we certainly could use a more pronounced presence of the arts. That middle school auditorium is a perfect venue for that. It is a tremendous space for performing arts and promotion of arts, and that's what we see it being used for. We hope to take possession, and in fact it's on the agenda to discuss with the legislation this evening, as a matter of fact, possession February 1st. From there, the county will more than likely look to develop a request for proposals for professional management of the building, and we'll look to bring in entertainment as well as